So, our very first Oscar pre-show. Guys, congratulations.
We made it.
We made
We
it.
did.
Yeah.
We did it. And I'm excited to do it because, like you said earlier, Sam, like this is like your Super Bowl. And it really should, it's so many people's Super Bowl. You know, if you love film and it's kind of your deal, then this is your Super Bowl. And I'm sort of juiced up for it. I went and saw a friend's screening this morning, and you know it was good. It was good, and the film conversation there was so fascinating and interesting. And where are you going to submit it? What are you going to do with it next? And then there's just the general public that are like, okay, well, this was good. This made me cry. I like this part, but it wasn't, so I love that energy around it. And the individual that made this short film this morning has written 8 books and has one of his books optioned as a feature and said he's never writing another book again. like he's doing film for the rest of his life. And we had a moment where I was like, yeah, everybody's like that. I said, we know so many like ex-engineers, scientists, doctors, etc., that they just simply PA'd on a set. They were simply like a PA, or they were helping out with a film, and they immediately caught the bug. It's just so much fun, PB, that you end up doing film for the rest of your life once you do it, no matter what your profession is.
But where's he going to get his stories from if he doesn't write another book?
He's going to write screenplays.
Yeah, but changing it up. It's like they always say, you got to be a jack of all trades, Nick, in this industry of creativity.
Can we rate Papa Bear's question right there? I give it a 3. What do you got? 1 to 10.
I give it a
1 to 10. 1 to 10. The quality of Papa Bear's question for me right there was that. No, that was below standard, right?
It had heart. It was coming from the right place. You got to give it at least a 4.
That book is his seed for the idea. So
seed of the sacred fig.
Yeah. Now that he's making a feature, he's got to come up with some more seeds.
Well, the thing is that, like, to Papa Bear's point, is that the book was optioned. So what he's good at is writing these books, but not necessarily writing screenplays. So I think that's a fair point. It's like, well, if he's not going to write the way he's been writing, right, he's going to jump away from the thing that's made him successful. That might be kind of difficult, right, to run into writing a screenplay. So
it is, because you definitely don't write a screenplay the way you write a book.
Yeah, if the story gets changed by the producers, if he gets to keep his story the way it is, but the screenplay is going to go through a bunch of changes.
100%. He's never once you option it, you're sort of out unless you've been also brought on to write the screenplay, and you just can't put everything into a movie or a screenplay that would be in a novel. Like you have to basically start where the action is. So all your first 100 pages of exposition go out the window a little bit. They have to be sort of re-baked into the screenplay. Anyway, for those watching, we're going to go through some key categories here and go through our picks so that they're on the record. And we have, a little, personal insider wager on the line between us with these picks.
$1 million.
$1 million between us to be given to the winner, and I think we're going to start with
no, it's not going to the winner. Right? It's going to the winner's favorite charity. We just
the winner's favorite charity. $1 million.
Right.
There is there was a few people in the guild that are doing like charity pools.
It's a good idea.
Most of them are for fires, but there was one guy that did it for his local soccer team. I was like, in Culver City. I was like, that's awesome. Okay. You're going to raise some money for your soccer team.
You got to help people out, man. Boosters can only boost so far. And, these young players need support.
Mm-hmm. As a soccer fanatic, Nick, I knew you would like that.
That's right. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So anyway, we're going to start with best. I can't talk to Nick anymore. He's too emotionally, like he's been changed. He's been changed by this administration. You know what I mean?
No.
Everything's
I'm good.
Everything's emotional for him right now. He's not used to being in that world.
Yeah. I am good. I'm moving forward.
He used to be a robot, and now he's a teddy bear. I kind of like it. He's cuddly. He's approachable.
These are all good things.
These are all this growth.
Yep. Yes.
Let's start with best supporting actor. Intern Sam. Should we end with Sam?
No, let's start with Sam because we can all learn from Sam.
This is true. Yeah.
So I'm gonna start with Sam.
My instincts were the same. Go for it, Sam. Right. Who do you got for best supporting actor?
Well, I think it's important that we list out the nominees first. Kind of get a feel for the category.
This is actually Sam's superpower, listing options. It's what he does on the show. I'm sorry.
I gotta bring my specialty to the live stream,
Chris. Because I gotta throw something in there. He's so good at it because he lost his left testicle. So that's why they call him listicle. That's why he's so great at listing things. It's all good, right?
Not to stretch. We want to rate Nick's joke 1 to 10, right?
He's just rating things.
There's no heart in that one, bro. That's like a 2.
Bro, that's like a really bad dad joke. You just take some stuff that just happened and you try to twist it around into something else that amuses yourself. That's what dad jokes are about. We saw
what you were doing there.
Exactly.
It's really about us.
Right. No, it's about me and just, that was clever. Good job, Dad. Anyway, go ahead.
All right.
Thank you, Father.
Okay, so actor in a supporting role. See, so I'm going to have to do my best here. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce this actor's name, but Yura Borisov from Anora.
Yura Borisov.
You nailed it.
Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain.
Mm-hmm.
Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown. Guy Pearce, The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong, The Apprentice.
Okay, so are there people in your mind, Sam, that were snubbed? Who isn't on this list that should be on this list?
I believe his name is, I think it's Clarence Macklin from Sing Sing. I believe that's his name.
Okay.
But that stands as, he should have won it, if you ask me. Sing Sing as a whole is pretty underrepresented, but I think that performance especially is really brilliant and is easily a contender here, especially when we look at
Is it a spoiler to talk about Sing Sing?
No, I don't think so.
Should people have seen it and know the trick by now, or no?
I think Sing Sing. I think speaking about it will give it the attention it deserves. I think is what I would say. Okay. Because I think that not enough people are speaking.
Anyone who hasn't seen Sing Sing, cover your ears right now. Give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Everyone but Coleman Domingo and 2 other people in the movie are not actors, but actual prisoners.
Right.
Oh, wait, they talked about that on Good Morning America.
I know, but not everybody watches Good Morning America.
No, I'm not saying specifically that show. I'm just saying that word is out.
Okay, good. So this guy, if you didn't know, is and the only reason I mentioned it is because I had my friend Ashley over last night, and she had not even heard of the movie. So it just shows you what kind of bubble you're in. And I know you guys can relate to that. We talk about these movies. All 10 of the Best Picture nominees, most people outside of Dune and Wicked have never heard of them. They've never heard of the movie. And she had never heard of Sing Sing. And, this is a black female. You would think she might know a Coleman Domingo movie. No, didn't know it and knew nothing about the movie. So I was like, okay, I won't ruin it for you by telling you that little factoid that's going to hit you at the end of the movie when they reveal it. Because when I watched it initially in the spring, it was that was like a hammer dropping because I was sure those were actors.
It was the same for me. Yeah. And I even saw it in the summer. They kept it real quiet.
I agree with you is what I'm saying, Sam. I think that was a major snub. Spot on.
I think he's, and to be fair, I think these are good nominations. I'll be honest here. I think Yura Borisov is probably the weakest here, and I would say that just because I do think there's actually better. I think there's actually better supporting actor performances in Anora.
Yeah.
So I think that that's just sort of going to come with that, right? Like, you know, that's a pretty dynamic cast, and just he serves as the kind of, he's probably the most important of them, if I would say, or like if we look at it, I think he serves the best kind of purpose from a narrative perspective.
Yeah.
So I think that that's why they chose him as the candidate from Anora. But I think that if we look at, you know, some of the other characters, the kind of enforcer character in that movie, I think is
he was great.
Sean
So
Baker
funny.
Staple. He's great. I think he really killed it, and I think that there's a couple
Most
other
underrated
characters.
thing about Anora is how funny it is.
Oh yeah, totally agree. 100%.
Like people see the premise and they think, okay, another story about a hooker, you know, going to the other side or whatever. It's so funny, and it's just so well done and so original. And Sean Baker's been Sean Bakering like that for years. Like he's like the bomb. Like I love it. Now I don't have a snub, but I have someone who I'm glad didn't get on the list, but is always on the list. It seems like, or I guess would have been good for the show if he were on the list. To be honest, and that's Stanley Tucci from Conclave.
Yeah, I agree.
To have him nominated would have been really great for the show. And we cannot forget that this is a show.
And he's an awesome actor in general.
And like, let's an awesome actor.
Let's not get it twisted. 100%. He's a great performer. It's just in that movie, I do agree.
Yeah, and he's a style god. And so shout out to Stanley Tucci. But I said on this very show that like there were scenes where I thought Ralph Fiennes and Stanley's performances were kind of imbalanced in that, like, because how good Ralph was being and how good Isabella Rossellini was being. Like, oh my God. Like, I was like, wow, you can, when you put two people in the same frame, that's how you can tell really, it's so subjective, right? Like acting, who's a better actor? There may not ever be a best, but it's when they're in the same frame together and you see those differences, that's where you can be like, oh, that person's just a little bit different. You know what I mean? They're going to a bit of a different place. Okay. So who do you have, Sam, winning this thing?
I have Guy Pearce, The Brutalist.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to.
Yeah, I think, and it was tough. I'm not going to lie. I really liked Jeremy Strong in The Apprentice. I thought he was great. But I think Guy Pearce does something that I didn't know he could do. He brings this kind of...
Shout out to Guy Pearce.
Definitely. I mean, he's a great actor. And I've, you know, I think that he's supremely underrated, sort of given this, we'll talk about this later, but a very similar kind of opportunity that Demi Moore was given to kind of represent himself as a serious actor, late stage, or not late stage, but later in his career.
Yeah.
And I think he brings it. I think he makes the movie in a lot of ways. You know, I think that the movie's great too, but I think that he really brings this gravitas and this sort of over, you know, not overacting, but that just energy that the movie needed that no other character was bringing.
He was also a character. Different. He built a character from scratch. Like he made the whole thing was like the way he dressed, the way he crossed his legs, the way he smoked a cigarette, the way his hair was combed. Everything about him was really a performance, and it helped you dig into a movie that frankly is, I mean, it's a very long movie, and I thought he did a good job of adding that dynamic to the film, and frankly, that dynamic exists in film so often. By the way, like here's your EP, or basically your patron saint, and here's your artist, and how those dynamics work alongside each other. Another thing that Brutalist did, and by the way, for those watching, you're watching our first ever live stream, Oscar pre-show. Thank you for joining. If you're on here, thank you for supporting us. And we're going to do this more often. So this is the first of many. The Brutalist kind of hid the fact, and I thought really well, that it borrowed a lot from the original film from the 40s, The Fountainhead. And that it was really an homage to The Fountainhead. And The Fountainhead, if you don't know, is a book by Ayn Rand. And I thought part of The Brutalist profunded, what's the word, Nick? Profound, when you want to say profound as a adjective, like profundity. Yeah, it was because it was pulled from, you know, notes from that book, which is a, you know, I always say, like, if you read Rand in your 20s, it's really impactful. If you read her in your 40s, it's really bad because in your 40s, you're like, this is not good writing. I think I'm going to stop. But if you read her in 20s, you're just reading it for the ideas because you're trying to figure out what your parents lied to you about your whole life. You see what I mean? And it's like it hits you hard. And for so many people, the you know, Atlas Shrugged is not approachable. It's 1,200 pages. And Fountainhead is very approachable. Like, you can get into that. And so The Brutalist did a good job with that. But I love the pick. I think a very good chance that's going to win. I did not pick that. Spoiler alert. Nick, who do you have?
I went for Kieran Culkin. Real Pain. I think it's going to be, because what's funny is that I'm sure Sam is looking at every individual film, and I kind of look across the whole thing, right? And look at all of the films that are nominated and look at what films to me are guaranteed to take certain things and then kind of not necessarily like what's left over, right? But it's like you look at these other things, you're like, out of all of these films, I mean, again, across this entire list, I'm like, will Real Pain win anything else?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, I'm not so sure, but I think that's the opportunity to celebrate that film and Kieran Culkin's performance. And he's been one of those as well, where I think he's no, you know, Stanley Tucci in my mind, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, he's had a lot of roles and in a lot of things. And I don't think he's gotten that, you know, that position on the stage. Right. And I think this is a really good opportunity for him. And so I looked at it like that, like not just the individual film, but across the gamut of films here. I'm like, that's the one where A Real Pain could win.
Papa Bear.
Well, you know, everybody's aware that I'm retired, and what that means is I don't have time.
I don't think everybody's aware of that.
Wait. I did not know that.
Oh yeah, I seem to be working right now.
Exactly.
So I don't have time to go to the movies. I've seen none of the movies, but what I did as a special treat is I asked AI who would win. Who does AI predict?
So going forward, everybody knows that you are our AI representative. Go ahead.
I'm representing AI, and we'll see how AI does at the end.
Can I please ask you which AI you queried?
Venice.
Venice AI. Shout out to Venice AI. Hopefully we'll have more on them coming up soon. But anyway, go ahead, Papa Bear.
All right. So Venice AI believes, just like Nick, that it's going to be Kieran Culkin.
Wow.
Kieran Culkin.
Okay, I did not know that was gonna that is fascinating. Okay, so
you want to talk about that?
He's definitely the favorite.
Was there a response to that Venice gave as to why they thought Kieran?
Well, all the responses are relatively the same, and that's that they compiled all the talk in all the articles. And, and it apparently he got the most media hype, I guess, about his role.
He ran kind of the board when it came to all the other award ceremonies. So like
Did he win SAG?
Let me check. I think
Did he win
BAFTA?
BAFTA?
I think so. I mean, he won, I think, all of them.
Hey, real quick, there's a caveat that I want to share real quick to what the AI says. And that caveat is that AI is going to respond based off of how you query it. Yeah. So it all depends on whether or not you asked it how to derive the results or whether or not you left it to it. So did you just say, who do you think is going to win? Or did you tell it how to determine
what was your prompt?
Who was going to win?
So here's what I did. I treated AI like AI was a person.
Yep.
And I said, who do you predict will win the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor?
Got it. Okay.
Did it that way.
Yeah. Open query.
Query. Okay. Well, I think Kieran winning would be great for the show. Like, is that fair to say? Like, I think it would be be awesome for the show. And I think
a story. It's a good headline.
Right. And I think it's such a touching story to that community as well. right? Like the trip that happened in that movie, I did myself in 2023 along with you, Papa Bear. We basically did that trip. You don't need to go see the movie. Yeah, you lived it in 20 when we went to Auschwitz and we went through Poland and did all that stuff. We basically, and we went to all those locations where the original, where Schindler's List was shot and all that stuff. Like, what an amazing! I haven't even talked to Nick or Sam about that trip. Not really. It's like there's so many pictures and so much to share about that. I loved A Real Pain. I thought it was a great movie. I think it's so much. It's so difficult to write an original screenplay and then get it shot and get it made in a world where IP is really what sells and finances films. So just shout out to that whole team, but I didn't have Kieran winning it. I did go with my heart a little bit on this. I do think I'm going to be wrong. So this is kind of the difference between who you think is going to win and who you are picking, I guess. And I picked Jeremy Strong. Now you knew I was going to pick that, Sam.
It's a good pick. I think it's a good one.
Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. Yeah. I think The Apprentice is the most underrated movie of the year, arguably. It's certainly the most underrated biopic. Yeah, Sebastian 100%. Stan is great as Trump. I talked to a few people and they were like, yeah, I didn't watch it because it was about Trump. I just don't. And I heard people say that about Conclave. I didn't watch it because I literally have a friend that said to me yesterday that I won't watch Conclave because the Catholic Church is a criminal organization. And I was like, okay, fine. I can compartmentalize. I don't want to hang out with Michael Jackson, but I'm not going to stop listening to his music. I don't want to hang out with R. Kelly, but I'm not going to stop listening to his music. I can compartmentalize. If that makes me a shit person, I guess, whatever it is.
No. Everyone has their opinions on that. And then it's just the type of thing, like some people are just triggered, right? That's the main thing, is that they don't want to watch it because it's triggering for them and they'd rather not, right? So they're willing to lose out on the experience because the trigger is that much more worse. It's that much worse and they'd rather not.
Okay. Exactly. So quick recap. We have Sam going with Guy Pearce, Nick and AIPB going with Kieran Culkin, and then me going with Jeremy Strong.
And real quick, I definitely think it's wishful thinking for Guy Pearce. I think when you look at it, I looked it up here. Kieran won the BAFTA, the Golden Globe, the SAG. He won it all. I really do think it's probably going to go to Kieran. Sure. I just think Guy Pearce is better. I think he's a better pick.
Here's my critique of Kieran Culkin's performance. Kieran Culkin was just being the same guy he was in Succession, just without money.
Yeah.
It was Kieran Culkin being Kieran Culkin. Now, I think if someone wanted to push back on me on that, it would be the fact that, like, that's what makes a good actor is they are so sort of authentically themselves all the time that they can take any role and it just sort of fit into their mannerisms. So, whatever, take that for what it was. Cool. But I saw Kieran Culkin. Yeah,
I mean, I think that's kind of like Harrison Ford was, in a certain day where it was just like, you knew it was Harrison Ford, but he could be the president or he could be whatever. But it was like, it was still him at the core. So it's like, drop him as a character into the role and somehow it works.
Well, they also write it around it,
Yeah. So, well, versus like when I see The Rock, I just see The Rock. Like I don't, then that doesn't work for me. I just like, he's not that character. So anyway, sorry, Sam.
No, I was just saying, they'll write the movie around it. I also do want to give Edward Norton a shout out here.
We kind of left him out there.
He's great in A Complete Unknown. I just think at the end of the day, he's doing something not exactly, not the same or really even fully similar to Guy Pearce and Jeremy Strong, but it's kind of a shade of that. And he's coming in kind of the weakest of it. And granted, that's an incredible company to keep. Those two are incredible performers and incredible performances in themselves. But I think that, he's a very worthy and very, very deserved nomination here. I just don't think it's, he doesn't cross the line, basically.
It was the nature of the movie and the nature of the role, too. Edward Norton sort of had to play this guy who, by the nature of his character, isn't someone who can really ruffle the feathers too much because he needs Bob Dylan so much. You know what I mean? Right. So anyway, moving on. Best supporting actress. Best supporting actress. Sam, who do you got? Oh, and give us the options.
All right. So for best supporting actress, we have Monica Barbaro, A Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande, Wicked, Felicity Jones, The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini, Conclave, Zoe Saldana, Emilia Perez. So I'm going to be real. This category, I don't know. This is not a great lineup here. It's not. Like, I want to say, I think Monica Barbaro did. I think she was probably the best here. I think Ariana Grande is really important to Wicked. I think that movie doesn't really exist without her. That being said, what she's doing, I see, it's okay. I mean, none of these blew me away, really. I think it's going to go to Zoe Saldana, but if I have to choose kind of my pick here, it would be Monica Barbaro, but I really don't have a strong opinion here, personally.
Yeah. Okay. Again, welcome to everyone that's joining for our first ever live stream on YouTube. Many more to come. Thank you for joining our Oscar pre-show. Nick, who do you got in this category?
I'm going for Zoe Saldana.
Because she's black?
That is a crazy thing. No, I think
is it crazy?
I think she's going to take it. I think this is just, I think she's going to take it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. PB. AI. Venice AI PB.
Right.
Should I say Venice? Shouldn't they be paying us for that?
Anyway. Well, if you keep saying Venice,
I guess they don't have. They don't have to now because I just gave it to them for free. Anyway, go ahead. AI PB.
Okay. How about Emilia Perez?
Wait, what the fuck are you talking about?
What you say? I guess he's saying.
Oh, you're saying
Zoe
Saldana. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My bad.
Yeah.
It's so confusing.
Emilia Perez is not a real person.
Yeah. Right. Just for the people that don't know why I keep calling you AIPB is because Papa Bear was unable to see most of the films that are being nominated, and therefore he has queried AI to get their answers, which I think adds like a really cool wrinkle. I don't think any other live shows are doing that right now. There are no live shows that are combining human responses with AI and tracking them to see which one was more correct. Like, what if AI beats all of us?
Well, and here's the thing. No. Listen. AI is not going to beat us, especially because us includes Sam. So Sam isn't necessarily voting based off of who he thinks is going to win. I feel it. Like Sam is going to say who he thinks should win.
Who did you say again, Sam?
I said Monica Barbaro.
That's what I thought. Okay.
I mean, just to get it out there, I thought Zoe Saldana was pretty terrible, and Emilia Perez. I think that would be quite the. I think we'd be approaching, Jamie Lee Curtis levels of just throwing it around at that point. Yeah, it's.
But they gave it to
her. One.
But here's Sam. Like the thing is, and I'm. Of course, I'm not AI as far as I know, but one of the things that I think about is like, because Chris talks about us having taste, right? Each of us has tastes. We have our own thing. And to your point, the Oscars actually has taste. They gave it to Jamie Lee. So when I think about who's going to win, which is kind of where I'm going a little bit more than maybe who should win, I do think about the Oscars taste. And I think that Zoe Saldana is within the taste of the Oscars to give the best supporting actress.
Well, and I think with that, there's been quite a bit of controversy around Emilia Perez and specifically around their lead.
Correct.
And I think it would present, I mean, to the point where I don't actually think it's going to win anything else. I think it's going to block it out of most categories, except for this, which would give them an opportunity to have someone go up and kind of speak on behalf of the crew and kind of say, you know, this person's opinions, this person's takes, they don't represent us as a film. They shouldn't be able to be kind of a marker against us in that way. And granted, she's the least egregious part of the movie. So
yep.
That's true.
If you're gonna award something, that's kind of, it falls to that.
Had they nominated Selena Gomez, then I would have had a problem. But I'm not mad at Zoe, and for me, I'm going Felicity Jones on this, and I have the same opinion Sam has on Zoe, but on Ariana Grande. So having just finally finished Wicked last night, this is fresh on my mind. I didn't really love it. What Ariana Grande was doing, I think she can sing her ass off. I think she can sing the roof off of a building, but so can Cynthia. I thought the singing between those two was tremendous, but was she better than, I don't know, the others? Like no. But to Nick's point, well, it wasn't to Nick's point, but I'll just add to Nick's point, which is say, it's not that they have taste. It's that here's what you can't they do, but I'm saying what you can't underestimate is that it's a show, and you need Ariana Grande in a seat.
She's gonna bring the biggest. I mean, you're gonna put her in EGOT territory at that point, and that's a whole conversation. Mm-hmm. Chris, I do have a question for you. Who sung better? Okay, Ariana Grande or Zoe Saldana? Because they're both in musicals.
Ariana Grande's sang better.
And then I think so. Then my question was
can't even not even a comparison.
Right. So I think that would then kind of, because I really do think it's a two horse race. I think it's between those two. I think and when it comes down to that, I think that if we're judging it on that, I think that she should take it.
Right.
Because I think that if it's singing performance, I mean that's as much of the element of the film as the actual performance in a musical. You know what I mean?
But I think Elton John is in there as a sneaky. Now we're not covering this particular pick. This is best original song, right? Is that what you're going to talk about?
No, I was just saying an actress in a supporting role. I mean, I think
actress in a supporting role. Okay, got it.
I think Ariana Grande's singing and her kind of everything that surrounded that just does better than Zoe Saldana's. And I think if we're quite literally going bar for bar there, like I think that she's just going to come out on top.
I love it.
Yeah, if you're going bar for bar, yes, but I don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna.
I watched.
They're not looking at, but yeah,
they're gonna go to Zoe Saldana.
I watched The Last Showgirl with Pam Anderson, and Pam Anderson was really, really good in it, really good. But one thing that I think hurt her, and at least it affected me, was just the sound of her voice, and I think part of that happened with Ariana Grande with me, if I'm being completely fair to Ariana. Like it could be just a Chris problem, right? Like I don't think a lot of people had a problem with Pam Anderson's voice, but I did have a problem with Pam Anderson's voice. It held me, like the sound of it, like it kind of kept me from being sort of as deeply involved in as I should. It reminded me of when Michael Jackson was in the Bad extended video in the 80s, where with Wesley Snipes, and we were supposed to sort of buy the fact that Michael Jackson was a tough guy that meets with other rival gangs in a parking garage. And at one point in the music video, Michael says, "You think you're bad? You ain't bad. You ain't nothing." And it's like,
because his voice is like 37 octaves too high for a tough guy, right?
Exactly. Like if you look at his actual performance, he was actually good as an actor. Yeah. He was good in Thriller. He was good in Ghost. We can't get some past the fact that he's Michael Jackson. Yes,
he just wanted a different voice. To pop in there.
It's Sam's back. It's everything about him, though. It's not just his voice. It's you can't get past the presentation.
Thriller.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on.
Yeah, but you're right. Thriller. He did that one. I got like that one for me. Shit. He did a great job.
He was darker skinned. He looked a little bit more like he would really be on a date with that girl. He was more sort of in the zeitgeist.
He was, but I think it was a natural thing for him, even the way that he was talking to her. But anyway, it was. He did a great job.
Yeah, he was natural. It looked like he would really be on a date. It looked like, okay, that's a good reason to be soft spoken because you're speaking to a female. You go to the movie, you're trying to maybe progress this relationship as the night moves forward, and then it makes such a good contrast when you turn into a werewolf, right? Or you turn like in the middle of the video, or the movie, or whatever. And he had great people let's just face it, he had a great director, great writers helping him out. But there was just such a big gap between Wesley Snipes and him in that bad video. Anyway,
oh yeah, for sure.
Moving forward, I think we're going to best. Is it actor? Is that the one we're going to do next? Yes, best actor. Okay, Sam, best actor. Who do you have?
Probably
best actor in a leading role.
In a leading role.
And this is probably the tightest race of the entire night. If we're just being honest here.
Okay.
It's a pretty stacked category. Mm-hmm. You got Adrian Brody, Brutalist. Timothy Chalamet, Complete Unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Coleman Domingo, Sing Sing. Mm-hmm. Ray Fiennes, Conclave. Sebastian Stan, The Apprentice. So it's pretty.
This is the most competitive stacked. One to me. Yeah, it's one of the most competitive ones.
And I think.
Who do you got?
I think for me, I got to say Coleman Domingo, Sing Sing. I
hope he wins.
I don't think it's likely that he's going to take it, but I think that he deserves it. I think his performance makes that movie in a way that none of the other performances here do. Like, you need that strong central pillar for Sing Sing, especially at an emotional core, and he brings it. And I really think
how in sports, Sam, a referee will make a bad call, and then instead of like taking that call back, they'll just make another bad call against the other team so that it evens it out. Mm-hmm. It happens in every sport. Coleman Domingo might get a my bad for last year Oscar.
I would love to see that happen.
Should have won for Rustin.
I think Sing Sing as a whole talked about it already, but again, I think it was incredibly mismanaged by A24, and it led to it really not having a presence here at all. And I think that this is one of two categories that it's in, and I think that I think it's the best. I think it's the most deserved category for it to be in, aside from Best Picture. Yeah. So I think that and it's not in Best Picture. So I think I would give it to him. I wouldn't be too upset at an Adrian Brody win. I think he's real good in that movie. I don't like the AI use at all, even though it's not a lot of it. I don't like that at all. Yeah. I think that even if it's 1% of the performance, Coleman Domingo came in with 100%, not 99. Yeah. And I although I think at the end of the day here, good chance it's Timmy. Good chance it's Timothy Chalamet, and that would be
Timmy.
I would be all right. I would be fine with it. It would be what it is.
Nick, Sam, we should have an indie talk about this so that we can sort of expound on what he means by A24 dropping the ball. And the reason why that's so controversial is because A24 basically built their whole company on their marketing prowess. Anyway, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give mine, but I want to comment on that. So I'm gonna say that Adrian Brody gets it. I think this is again a matter of Academy Award taste. So I think that's where they're going to go. And I think Sam hits. Well, so before we get too far, again, we want to do an indie talk to talk about how A24 dropped the ball. But I think it's not only did they drop the ball on the film, but for me, like for where it could be in Oscar contention and all that.
Yeah.
But maybe they dropped the ball for society. Maybe they dropped the ball for people caring about the Oscars. I can't stop thinking about the poll that we put out there, right? Sam put it out there and said, are you going to watch? And was it like 70+% said no, like a resounding no, I'm not watching. And for me, it's because people don't care. Like, why do I want to, honestly, the Timothy Chalamet thing, I think you could get him, if he won, maybe people would care more.
I agree.
I think that, right?
He's hot right now. It's a big deal.
He's hot right now. Exactly. And he's been hot for a certain age demographic for a while. So if you gave it to him, you might actually get people to watch next time. Like, oh, okay, we're represented at the Oscars, where other folks might say, hey, look, no, we're not represented there. That's an older crowd who's voting on that, and we're not part of that. But I think where they dropped the ball for Sing Sing is that's a movie that touches you emotionally. I think everybody can just feel when they watch that movie. Whereas things like The Brutalist, it might have been a fantastic film. You break it down, you can look at all the categories that it's in, right? Yeah. You're like, wow, as a work of art, you did something amazing. But I don't know if that's where people are right now in our current zeitgeist. They want to feel connected to the content. So I'm with you, man. It'd be great. if Sing Sing won, but at the same time,
yeah,
I don't think enough people have seen it for it to make a difference.
Especially,
I think they're going to go with their taste.
Part of it is,
especially Academy voters. I mean, there's been a huge. I don't know if you guys have seen it online this year, where there have been all these quotes coming out, and they've been talking about how they aren't finishing the movies or they're watching them in multiple viewings and it's buffering, and that they aren't even. There was one guy who said he watched the first half of The Brutalist on his phone and then didn't feel like he needed to watch the back half and just went ahead and gave it a 6.
Oh, that's upsetting.
And that's horrible. And then the same dude said he didn't want to watch Dune because he doesn't like survival movies and just didn't watch it and then still voted. And that's why something like Sing Sing, it unfortunately doesn't really stand a chance here.
And I don't want to play the race card again, but it is there's two things that it has that makes it different. One, it's basically, we talked about this in the last Indie Talk we had that I think we'll publish on this Friday, but is it a black movie? Maybe. And then I think the second thing about it is that it does have a lot of people in there who are giving amazing performances who haven't dedicated their lives to, let's say, the craft, and that could be upsetting to the industry. Like, we're not gonna, it would be like if a bunch of people off the street beat the Chiefs in flag football. It would be like, what just happened?
Right. Okay. But they had they had an amazing quarterback, right?
Yeah, amazing quarterback. What did AI say, PB?
Well, AI is going to go with Timothée Chalamet.
Yep. Timothée Chalamet.
Yep.
But honestly, it would be great. It would be great for the Oscars if that was the case.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I think that the Oscars do love to do a move where they'll take an up-and-coming young actor, and granted, Timmy's been nominated before, but they'll take an up-and-comer, and they'll nominate him once or twice, and they'll say, not yet, and then the third or fourth go-round, they'll say, okay, it's time. And the reason that I think that could potentially happen here is because Timothée Chalamet is starring in a movie called Marty's Supreme, which is being looked at as one of the biggest kind of releases of the year from like an award perspective. It's a Safdie brothers. I'm incredibly excited for it, but he's the lead, and it's another one that's kind of a biopic, and I think that it could easily take a similar role. He's also going to be in Dune 3 in 2026. So I could see them saying, hey, you got 2 more on the horizon. Not yet.
Oh.
Yeah.
But which would also, to be fair, that would also say, I think a lot of young people would come back next year if he's nominated again and say, okay, well, let's see it one more time. And I think that's a dangerous game that they might play, but I think that is something that they might do.
Yeah, and I will say this too. I was in love with his speech that he gave at the SAG Awards.
I was too. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, he wants to be the Michael Jordan of acting. Awesome. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Like, cool. He's going to dedicate his life to the craft. He wants to be one of the greats. He wants to go down as this generation's Marlon Brando. Okay. Like, I'm all in on, like, at least you're not giving the award to somebody who didn't care. At least you're not giving the award to somebody who's going to walk on stage chewing gum, right? Like it's there you can root for Timothée Chalamet in this regard, and he had a great year. And the movie is really good. The movie's really, really good. He was Bob Dylan. If he won, I wouldn't be mad.
He's better in Dune is my only thing with him in this position. He's not bad, but he's better in Dune. And so
I really enjoyed him in Dune 2. I am on the record as saying on Dune 1, I did not think, I just did not buy it. And then I realized I needed to watch it again. And then when I watched Dune 1 again.
After 2?
No, I watched Dune 1 and then I watched Dune 2. So I rewatched Dune 1. I realized I had watched Dune 1 with tired eyes. And when I went back to watch it, I had missed sort of the importance of certain conversations he had with his mom in Dune 1. And I haven't read the book. So it was like, oh, okay. Now it makes sense why he beat up that black dude at the end of Dune 1. That he would definitely not have beat up. He definitely would not have beat that dude up. He would definitely not have won that fight. And I just couldn't get past that for like a year. And then then I realized, boom. So there we go. And I enjoyed Dune 2 a lot. And matter of fact, the fact that Denny wasn't nominated more kind of made me feel like maybe some of these award shows are unserious, but whatever. Yeah. Okay, here's what I have. I have Ralph Fiennes for Conclave winning Best Actor. And I want, so this is one of these things where I want Coleman Domingo to win. I think he deserves it. But I think when I just look at the performances, and it is really tight. I mean, Ralph it's like he researched this by living in Rome for, 5 years or something. Just even his body, the way his body moves, he looks like he is a pious individual trying to figure out a situation inside of, the Vatican. It's astonishing how he's able to transform. And I would give that to Sebastian Stan on The Apprentice as well.
Yep. Yeah, I got a question for you for PB to look up. So just ask AI at some point if anybody has ever won an Academy Award for a depiction in a film about the Catholic Church.
What? Of course they have.
I want to know who that was. So anyway, this is something. I'm just curious.
Because wasn't the one about the Sam? What film was it that came out 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where the Popes? It was the reporting on the Catholic Church. It was the reporters. I own this movie.
Was it there was one called The Two Popes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
I don't know.
No, this one's recent.
It was a documentary.
Was it nominated? Was it like
nominated? It was nominated for best film. I might have. Did it win? Like it was. It was about the two journalists who uncovered the child abuse within the Catholic Church. This was like 2 years ago, 2.5 years, 2 years ago. I remember because it was the last year they were sending physical screeners out.
Oh yeah, I got it. Spotlight.
Actually,
yeah. No. I remember. Okay, yeah. No, we looked this up. Actually, me and my dad the other day because we were talking about Moonlight.
Shout out to your dad.
Yep. Shout out to my dad. This one came out also with Stanley Tucci in, apparently.
Yep.
And this one came out a couple years ago, or 10 years ago. Went up against Moonlight, La La Land.
Tough. That's tough comp.
Yep. I think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Anyway, I think that one won some stuff. Great film. Okay, so we've got our guesses in there. We've got Coleman Domingo. We've got Timothy Chalamet, and Ralph Fiennes. Okay, for our third. Now we move to actress. Sam, can you give us our options, please?
I can indeed. So, actress in a leading role: Wicked, Cynthia Erivo.
Mm-hmm.
This is another one where I'm going to have to do my best. Emilia Perez, Carla Sofia Gascon.
Yep.
Garcon.
No, Gascon. It's Gascon.
Gascon.
Are you sure it's Gascon? Okay.
It's Gascon.
It's Gascon.
Okay.
Gaston. Or is it, okay. Go ahead.
Honora, Mikey Madison. The Substance, Demi Moore. Another one. I'm still here. Fernanda Torres. Is that?
Yep.
There we go.
Torres,
okay. And I went with Fernanda Torres. I did. I thought she was the best here. And honestly, I am good with any of them except for Demi Moore.
Yeah,
and Carla. I don't want to see Carla. I don't want to see any Emilia Perez W's tonight. None. Zero.
What a hater.
Movie sucks. But I'm also good off Demi Moore. I think both of them are hyper inflated for what they do. I think they're trailing behind both Mikey Madison and Fernanda. I think that Cynthia Erivo is fine. She's just fine. My problem with Demi Moore is I'm just tired of hearing about her. I'm tired of hearing about that movie. All people talk about is how good it is, how good she is in it. It's lame. It's lame, and I don't like this agenda being pushed with it about horror movies back in Oscar contention. because that movie kind of barely counts as a horror movie.
I was going to ask you that, Sam. I was going to, because it's a body horror, but there's just another underlying, like, what was, I know the body horror was central to it, but did it have the same thriller as you would consider a horror movie to be? Like, okay, so
you know what it really feels like? It feels like an Aronofsky movie. The way it ends,
like a shitty one.
It ends like an Aronofsky movie where the character shows up to do the big thing, and they have, in the process of trying to get that one thing, they have completely sacrificed themselves.
Everything else,
and then it goes completely. That scene at the end is one of the most grotesque scenes in movie history.
Well, so do you think that is what qualifies it in people's minds as a horror movie?
No, the whole movie is grotesque. I've never watched a movie where I said, "Oh my God," that many times. I said it probably 30 times. I watched it because I kept thinking, "Oh, they're not going to get grosser than this," and then it got grosser.
I mean, Chris, have you seen Titane?
I love Titane. I love the first 5 minutes of Titane is maybe the most exciting. We've talked about this on the podcast before, actually. Mm-hmm. This is pre-intern Sam days. It's the most exciting 5 minutes of a movie in a long time. And I love the whole movie. It wasn't like movie of the year sort of level good, but there's nothing, and I mean nothing like Titane. Titane's not even close to as gross as The Substance.
I haven't seen Titane, but when I was 15, 16, and I worked at the movie theater, my friends also experienced this. And we were sent in to clean the theaters. We were given no warning as to what Titane was or what occurs during Titane.
Is this the same theater where the guy pooped down his leg?
It is the same theater. Yep.
Okay.
And so, same cast of characters and everything. I have not seen Titane, but there's imagery from Titane burned into my mind that is way further than anything I saw in The Substance. And granted, that could be 15-year-old Sam and his selective memory of it, but The Substance, it felt very hokey, and it felt very kind of, I don't know, it didn't work for me. And so I think Fernanda Torres, I think she killed it in I'm Still Here. I'm Still Here is an incredible movie. I think she actually is just, she absolutely destroyed that role, really brought everything to it. Very powerful, moving performance.
Destroyed in a good way, folks. Destroyed in a
good way. Yeah.
Okay, so
positive destruction.
So I'm there. I'm with you on that one. So I agree on that one.
Okay.
And I'm looking at, again, that is a film that I don't know that it'll take, maybe international feature. It might take that one as well, but I think that there's also an opportunity for the Academy Awards to do something socially impactful with that one. So not only was it good, but I think there's an opportunity there with that film, either with this award or international feature. But I'm going to go,
or a real crazy Best Picture. It would be wild. It's deserved. I would be in that consideration. I agree with you, Nick. I think that they're going to find something to give I'm Still Here. I think it absolutely deserves it. I do think that's going to be an international feature film. I don't think she's going to take it for actress, but I think that she deserves it. And Mikey Madison's great too. I like Nora a lot. It's carried by her. I was
going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Yeah, she brings it, but again, and I thought about this here. I do think she has a chance, but it's one of those. She is a very, very promising actress, very, very promising figure for Hollywood. This is her first nomination.
Yep.
So I really think it's going to be one of those Saoirse Ronan, Timothée Chalamet type of things where they say, "Okay, great work, really great work. We love what you did here, but we're gonna revisit you in a couple performances. Go get some more under your belt. Go spend 5 more years in the industry, then we'll talk." And I think the only snub, I didn't have any snubs really for many other categories. I do think Lily Rose Depp in Nosferatu was a huge snub for actress in a leading role. I thought she was excellent, and I think you could have honestly. I think she's probably better than anyone else here except Fernanda and Mikey Madison. I think you could have slotted her in pretty easily. So
one film I did see.
There you go, PB. What you got? So who are you gonna answer? You're gonna give both answers, PB, like an AI answer and a PB answer?
Well, he only saw Nosferatu.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think he'll just give that one.
Yeah.
I'll give it to the one he saw.
But for this one, AI says, and intern Sam's going to love this too. Demi Moore.
Yeah.
Demi Moore.
It's going to happen.
So go ahead, PB.
Well, I was going to say,
I don't know.
Well, go ahead and talk about Demi Moore, and then I've got an answer for Nick's question about the Catholic Church.
Yeah, because I'm back with Sam, where it's like, okay, you have that feeling it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But because they are talking about horror, right? They're associating with this it being a horror movie.
I love when Nick says
the
horror.
Academy.
And the Academy. It's like when he says Hawaii.
Right. And I try to make sure I'm not saying whore. Because a lot of people, when they say it, they say, I love that horror movie. Horror? No. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm not sure that the Academy is ready to give it to a horror movie. That's the part that I think they're not going.
It's not a straight up horror movie though.
It's more of a no. I know that. I know. I'm back to what Sam was saying. There's a certain hype. There's a certain conversation about it. Where she got what she got in the Golden Globes, it's like, okay, you got that already. Like but on this stage, that's not necessarily the thing that we celebrate. Again, their taste, and then we're going to go a slightly different direction.
I'll give you something interesting here. With Mikey Madison, it's going to be this juxtaposition between first-time nominee and the fact that this award has been given 21 times to people playing hookers, sex workers. They love giving this award to people who play prostitutes, male and female, by the way, because Jon Voight won it for Midnight Cowboy. So what gives? Are they going to give it to another prostitute because they love it? And please don't forget that when Halle Berry won hers, it was because she slept with Billy Bob Thornton.
I was wondering if you were going to throw that in there because I was thinking it when you said that, but I know that wasn't the role. But
they love it. Yeah. They love the subversion of it. But then again, Sam's spot on, first time nominee. So I am going to go out on a limb. I know I'm going to be wrong, but I'm going to go on a limb and say Mikey's going to win. I do think Demi Moore is going to win, though. Like intellectually, I think emotionally, Mikey should win. Intellectually, Demi's going to win because when is she going to get another role? She's in her 60s. Oh, she's been taking care of Bruce Willis. She's so in industry and so well liked. She is so well liked in industry right now. That shit really matters. It really matters. And I know it's supposed to be a meritocracy. It is not just a pure meritocracy.
It's going to be
They're
difficult.
going to give it to Demi because she's been in industry for. And Sam, you can't be a hypocrite here. You can't say, well, they're going to, first time nominee, so Mikey's not going to win. Put more 5 years back in your belt in the industry, more roles, and then on the other hand, say, "Well, we can't give it to Demi." No, Demi's done the thing you just said. Industry wants someone to do.
They're going to give it to Demi Moore, but I don't
saying that. But has she been nominated?
I don't think she should be nominated.
No. Has she been nominated before?
Yes.
This is my point.
Yeah.
Well, but she's also just been in the industry for so long. It's a similar situation with Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah. Where it's hey, we haven't done you right. We haven't, you're a great actress. You're a national treasure. We're going to make sure you get the win here.
Air quotes on that,
she is a national treasure.
You got to take those out. We love Demi Moore. Shout out Demi Moore. But here's the thing.
Move her to Fort Knox.
Here's the real. Okay, it's hilarious. Here's the real controversy right here, gentlemen.
Okay.
The best actress this year was not nominated. The best leading actress was not nominated at all. And it should have been Angelina Jolie.
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
There was no one better than her in any movie that I saw this year. in this category.
Look at Sam's face.
The only one close was Mikey and Fernanda.
I think
if Fernanda wins, if anything, I'm Still Here wins. That melts my heart. I love it. That movie.
It's a W. Like I think it has to be.
It has become special to me somehow.
I do also think Zendaya and Challengers really should have been here.
So overrated.
I totally disagree.
I know. I know.
It's not nominated, so we don't have to talk about it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
PB. Once again, the universe agrees with old Chrissy. PB.
What was the answer?
What was the answer to Dick's question?
Spotlight in 2015. Will that qualify?
No, did it win?
Yeah, 2 Oscars.
Okay. 4.
Was it 2015?
One.
Yeah. I thought it was like a couple years ago. Jesus.
One was for Best Picture.
Oh, so it wasn't Moonlight year. Okay, it wouldn't have been.
No, it was 10 years ago, bro.
I've already left there.
Moonlight's pretty old.
There's no way Spotlight came out in 2015. There's another movie then that just came out a few years ago.
Spotlight was the one that won.
Yeah,
and the one original screenplay.
Okay,
original screenplay as well. Yep.
So, interesting again. It didn't. Well, that answers the question. I think the context that I had in my mind, of course, was actor and actress. But
there you go.
I'm glad it did win something because I was curious because I felt like it had none of the films based on the Catholic Church had won anything. That was my thinking. So at least there was one that had won something, but no Best Actor for that because there's been a lot of great ones.
Speaking of original screenplay, Nick. That is our next category, Sam. Ooh, this one I think is also very competitive, although I think there's a couple of clear potential winners. So, Sam, break it down for us, man.
All right, so original screenplay, we got Anora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5th, or September 5, and The Substance. So, full disclosure, September 5 or September 5th is the only one, honestly, one of the only ones on this entire list I have not seen. So I can't speak on it. I don't think that really would matter much because I think Anora is going to take it here, and I think it deserves it. I think the script in Anora is really the real forcing function for that film. It's a Sean Baker script, so it's.
I like the way you put that.
It's brilliantly written. It's snappy, it's quick, it moves, it's potent, it's got emotional beats, it's got everything you want, and it also, like you said, Chris, it's super funny. And I think that The Brutalist comes in, and it's a fantastic film. It's an epic kind of overarching experience, but the script is not the main focus of that film. And
did Brady Corbett also write The Brutalist?
I believe so. I'm not 100%, but I do believe so. Yeah. And then A Real Pain, that would be my number 2 here. And I think I just don't think A Real Pain has the legs to do more than to do it. It's a good movie. It's a great movie even, but I think at the end of the day, it just doesn't quite stand against the Anora script. I think the Anora script really is just stronger. So
Jesse Eisenberg is a star, and that is going to sway A Real Pain. And again, it's about a particular culture, and that culture is dominant in entertainment. Nick.
Yeah, so for this one, Anora, I think The Brutalist is I don't know. It's one of the top 2 favorites, I guess you could say, for this one for me. But also I'm looking at all the films, and I'm like, in the categories that we're looking at, for my vote, Anora doesn't win anything else. So like,
for you, this is where Anora wins right here.
Yeah, of the top ones. Yeah. Well, of the ones that we're discussing, I think that they might.
That's good. That's fascinating.
As we talked earlier, I think editing, they might be in that space. I think that, but that's a category that I don't think a lot of people talk about. But I think out of what I'm looking at, I think that's of the top ones. That's where Anora gets it.
Yeah. Okay. PB, what did AI say?
Okay.
What did AI say about this?
AI says Anora.
Right. Well, it turns out I think we all agree with AI. I think Anora takes it as well. That's our first quorum. That's our first across the board We all think the same thing.
It's beautiful.
We think Nora's going to win. I think
that makes a statement.
I think the sneaky one here is A Real Pain because of Jesse Eisenberg, and he did such a great press junket.
Yeah,
he did a really great press junket.
Yeah.
He came off so well on every show. He came off so humble, and he was able to tell the story. He went to all the right places to promote it. I heard more about A Real Pain as a screenplay than I heard about any other screenplay. So that, to me, if Nora doesn't win, that might be your sneak pick there.
I also think,
and I saw September 5 and it was good, but again, it's about the reason to me, it's the weakest of the nominees of Best Picture. But I know why it got picked, and it got picked because it's about something that's very sort of in community. Anyway, go ahead.
It's not nominated for Best Picture.
Is it not?
No.
Oh, never mind. Then it would have been the weakest. It was so weak it didn't get nominated.
It didn't even get nominated.
I do see a world where The Substance gets original screenplay. That's in this world where Demi Moore doesn't win. And we'll know that early in the show.
Well, I think she'll get it from makeup and hairstyling. I think that's where they'll get it. I mean, I think that,
I don't know. Maybe
there's a space. I mean, you got room. Of course, Nosferatu is in there as well, but I think that's where they'll get it.
Please.
Yeah,
Nosferatu.
please just one more time. Yeah, thank you.
Listen to that. Elite pronunciation. Anyway. By the way, the irony of me trying to correct Sam on pronunciation. like I'm a guy that can't say anything.
He's like, I just can't speak.
Literally, I have such disrespect for other markings on letters. Like if you put a little line above an O, I'm like, fuck that.
Like the Gascon.
I'm not. Just throw that shit out of there.
Zoe Saldana.
I get so frustrated. Like you pronounce it with an L. There's no L in her name, but I know that it has to be there because of that little squiggle above the A, and it's like throw that squiggle out of there.
The squiggle.
You're anti-squiggle.
Yeah, no squiggles. No squiggles.
Yeah, call me the Noam Chomsky or the Howard Zinn, I should say, of freaking language. We have hegemony here. Say all letters like we say it.
Whatever,
U.S.
bro.
hegemony, baby.
Whatever, bro. All right.
Okay,
What's the
next one?
Next one.
Right? Next one is Best Adapted Screenplay.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is fun, and it's a little harder than people think.
Well, it's a more diverse
to do
lineup.
it, just to do it is what I'm saying. Just to adapt a screenplay.
This is definitely this is a range here, and I think that it's kind of, you got a lot of different things, a lot of different types of films in here. Whereas, and not to say that original doesn't as well, but I think adapted really kind of runs the gamut. You got biopics and book adaptations and all kinds of stuff. So, leading the pack, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys, Sing Sing. I'm picking Sing Sing. We already know this. I actually genuinely believe that this is a category Sing Sing might win. And the reason that is there's a lot of credited writers on the Sing Sing script, Clarence Macklin being one of them, and it would allow them to get a moment to kind of appreciate the film, and I think it would allow the Academy to feel good while also giving credit without having to give them one of the big awards, which they clearly did not want to do, by not even nominating it, right? And so you'd get to see Coleman Domingo. I believe he's credited as a writer. And Clarence, you get to see them all go on stage, and they get to accept the award, and it'd be a great moment, but it wouldn't take up one of those, like I said, important slots that they clearly don't want it to. Plus, it's a fantastic script. Let's not get that twisted at all. I mean, it's a great script.
Really great script.
And that movie, like I said, it's an incredible film. So
here's the danger with adapted. Someone's read the book, they've read the other thing, the other version, they've seen the play, like The Piano Lessons, one of those. They've seen all that. The Wicked was one of those. We've seen the play, whatever. There's a lot of people who like the stage play better than they like the movie. So you risk sort of alienating that original audience that comes to the theater to watch the adapted thing, or people who in the know that's like, oh, I know that piece of work. They really did a shit job. So there is a bit of sort of inherent baked in risk with adapted screenplay that makes it really hard. Nick, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Conclave on this one.
Ooh.
I think I'm looking more towards Academy Awards taste on that one.
Yep.
And then, Sam, I'm thinking that this isn't the one for Sing because I think the ones that we're talking about, in my opinion, this is still one of the big awards. Mm-hmm. And I think that Sing Sing might make it into the best original song.
Okay.
I think that's something that could bring everybody on the stage, fully, get that representation. And like you said, it doesn't get one of the big ones, but that would be a great.
It can still be an Academy Award-winning film. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. You got it. All right, PB.
PB, what does AI say? Can you tell us what the bots think about this?
Well, the bots,
the thieving bots, the aggregation bots.
They really love Nick, They say conclave.
They say conclave.
Yeah.
So I have conclave as well. So that's 3 of us coming together.
They love you too.
Yep. For conclave. Although, listen, Sam, not going to be mad at all if Sing Sing wins. We'll be rejoicing if it wins.
Oh yeah.
No problem with that. And I got a little soft spot for Nickel Boys as well. So now the funny part is like watch a Complete Unknown, just walk away with it. It's like because being able to aggregate all that information about Bob Dylan to put together a movie that they've wanted to make for 30 years.
And it's part of that narrative. Yeah. I mean, it might happen. I would say, barring Amelia Perez, a Complete Unknown is probably the weakest here.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be great to see, but it is what it is.
All right. So we're going now. The thing about Amelia Perez is, even if you didn't like the singing in the movie, the songwriting was still excellent. And so I would not leave, as a songwriter myself and a musician, I would not sleep on that. Okay. We're down to the last 2 guys, Best Director and Best Picture. Let's go with Best Director. Sam, who's up for that?
First off, proud to say it. Mm-hmm. Sean Baker, Anora.
Uh-huh.
Followed by Brady Corbett, The Brutalist. Mm-hmm. James Mangold, A Complete Unknown. Oof, all right. You guys are putting me through the ringer here. All right.
You're a hater, Sam.
Well, no, I got to figure out how to pronounce his name. That's the hard part here. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. I thought you were hating on James.
Oh, well,
no. Okay, go ahead.
Jacques Audiard? Is that?
There you go.
There we go. Okay.
Now, Nick is fluent in French.
The D is probably not hard, right? It's
the D. Pause.
Paul? You see, Greg goes.
Audiard.
It's very hard.
Yeah, but it's like people like saying can. Here it's like it's just Audiard is probably good enough, but Audiard because it's just you lose the last D in the pronunciation, but you got it, Sam.
And then Coralie Fargi. Nick, you got this one too. You can take
this one here. This is
Coralie. What are you trying to say? You said Coralie Fargi?
That's what I'm saying. I don't even know. I mean, you have to look up her last name. I don't
can't
know
say the F word on YouTube, can we?
It's Fargi.
Nick, you speak French.
This.
Get the name out for us.
No, I just
That's
have to
so
see.
evil, Nick, that you've been able to speak French this entire time, but you've put me in charge of doing all the pronunciations.
Because it's wonderful. This is the thing that we always talk about. We have to have drama on this show.
Right. You're right.
It's part of your internship.
Let me pronounce it. Let me pronounce it the way I would pronounce it. The substance, Coralie Farget.
No.
Forget.
No. This is no. I think the G is a J sound, so this would be a Farjit.
Farjit. Coralie Farjit. I love that. It sounds very sexy that way. I like that. Who do you got, Sam, as best director this year? Why do I ask that? Why would I ask that?
Yeah, I can't bet against the boy. I can't bet against Sean Baker. At the end of the day, here, my favorite director, I gotta put it on the line for him. And I think I think. It's a 2-horse race between him and Brady Corbett. And I think, I would be happy seeing Brady Corbett win. I think for Sean Baker, though, he's been in the industry longer. And I think
he's on such a tear, man. The dude just doesn't make bad movies.
He's never made a bad movie. He only makes quality films. And
like not just quality films, he makes like the best films.
Above
every
and
year.
Beyond. Yeah, like some of the best films I've ever seen. Multiple. In his catalog.
I don't know if this one's any good though. Sam, did you like this?
I loved Red
That's
Rocket.
a banger. that is a banger.
It's one of the best movies you'll ever watch.
You just have it on hand.
I wasn't sure. I mean, I don't know. Did you like this one?
Banger.
You like that one too? I brought these out for Sam. You know.
They're bangers. Like I love Sean Baker. I would love to see him on stage. I would love to see him get a win, and I think he's going to walk away with one here because he's just so involved with the process, right? Whether that's editing, whether that's directing, whether that's writing, whether that's producing / best picture, he's gonna get one. I just would love to see it be in the category of directing. I would love to see him win it for what he does best. You know, what he's, or what, not necessarily best, but what his focus is.
Love it.
The main award. So,
Nick, who you got?
So I agree with Sam, but I believe they're going to go with Brady for the Brutalist.
Okay, Brady.
This is based off of that whole just Academy Award taste thing and what they did last year. So I think that's where they're going to go. I think it's just the size of the film. I think that's what it is. It's just Brutalist is just it's a bigger film. And I think that's where they'll go.
It's more profound than Anora. It's not better than Anora. Is that?
Yeah. That's my point, though. That's what they award, though, right? Is these large, kind of bombastic films that are like, how did this even happen? How did this come to be? Type of film, and that means the director, right? The director is at the helm of this huge.
Let's talk about that, Nick, before we get to AIPB. They give these awards to the same person. So a lot of times you'll see if Sean Baker wins for Best Director, then Anora's going to win for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Because the Academy understands that the viewing audience doesn't really have an understanding of how to sort of split the difference between what makes for a great movie and what makes for great direction. And the way I talk about it is a director is in charge of the way the story is told. The problem is, unless you're sort of in that creative world, you don't understand necessarily what that means, action to action, decision to decision. And what that means is, like, when you're in pre-pro and you're with your production manager and you're with your cinematographer and you're with your producer, you guys are figuring out where to put cameras. And that is really going to dictate how the story is told. Right? That is boring for people. Like, people don't want to think about, oh, I see you were really a master at figuring out how to, put the camera here, that. And so one of the things that even, we've done for my own short films is, like, we figure out what makes this interesting. So on Skakifis last year, the opening shot was on a stairwell through a stained glass window. And our character sort of approaches getting water. We could have put the camera somewhere else and opened it that way, but that was less interesting. And so what a director does is find a really interesting way to sort of present things. So Terrence Malick, for example, is someone where the direction really stands out. Like, why did you make that choice to tell the story this way? There was a movie he had, Sam, a few years ago, where in the middle of the movie, it had Sean Penn in it. I can't remember the name of it. And it had, I think, Brad Pitt. But in the middle of the movie, you just cut to a million years ago there's a dinosaur running across a river. Now, this is a story set in the 60s. In the middle of it, it cuts to a dinosaur running across a river, seeing that this baby dinosaur really doesn't have a chance to survive in the wild. And so the dinosaur steps on the baby dinosaur's face and head and kills it. And then after about 15 minutes of that dinosaur sequence, we get back to the movie in the 60s. I don't like that kind of storytelling. I think that's an interesting choice. I think there's better ways to try to say what he was trying to say, but he's also had an incredible success with that, and he gets incredible shots out of his DP. So shout out to Terrence.
Yeah, and this is not my type of
storytelling.
Yeah, but this is, to me, Chris, that's also part of where my guess is going, right? Is that it is tied directly to the Best Picture, which, you know, obviously
you're good. Okay,
now I know. But I know you know what it is. But that's what I'm saying. It's like it's tied together, and that's what I get back to. It's the ship. You know, it's the Brutalist is this huge behemoth of a ship, and this is the captain of that ship. And that's why I think, but that's why I think they're gonna. Anyway,
I will say that's pretty dependent on the Academy voters watching the movie. And that's the biggest uphill battle. I think
based off of what Sam started the conversation with, he's spot on.
I think it's the biggest issue with The Brutalist is I think that it would be an incredibly deserved win. Mm-hmm. And I think that I actually agree with a lot of what you're saying, Nick. I just don't know if they watched the movie.
Okay.
And that's
I have my buddy,
we'll find out.
My buddy David Perry, producing a friend of me and Nick's who produced another version of You. He said, "Hey, do you want to have a date with me?" I said, "Sure." I said, "Where are we going?" He goes, "I want to stay at home and watch The Brutalist with you." I said, "Okay." I said, and then I waited on him, as you guys know, for 2 weeks. He never fit. Now, this is classic David anyway. So he never hit me back up. I said, "What happened?" And he's like, "It's just it's too long. I can't find 4 hours to do it."
Right.
And I asked Maki the same thing. Maki's like, "I don't have 4 hours to watch it. I know, like I just don't, you know." So Sam's point, there you go.
Well taken.
What did AI say, PB, about this?
Well, AI is no idiot. Sean Baker.
Sean Baker.
Yeah, and it may be back to that, Sam, which is maybe it knows that part of it too, which is.
So which AI
the
wins,
one people
Nick or
watch?
Venice?
Right. We'll see.
Which AI is correct? This was one of the hardest categories for me to pick. Frankly, it really was, because if I go with The Brutalist, which I did go with, if I go with Brady, it's the reason why is because he did such a great job campaigning around how hard it was to make the movie. And how the whole industry told him not to make it, how every producer and EP told him not to make it, and that this is going to be a big failure. And that, you know, and that line ties in with basically the line at the end of the movie, if you've seen it. And they just love the romance of that. And sometimes this stuff just comes down to marketing, like so much, right? Like I remember we used to have a podcast called Married Not Dead, and we were doing 2016 predictions, and I was like, you know, who's going to win? Who's going to win is the person who did the best marketing. And that turned out to be true. And I was the only one that said it at the time on the record. It's like, no, the marketing matters. And we've been saying this to filmmakers for a decade. The better marketed film or entity always wins. Always. People are very simple. Show them something 7 times. They will remember it. You tell them something's good 7 times. They'll be like, "I heard it's really good." They'll literally repeat it. They'll parrot it back. "I heard it was really good." We do it. I think Brady did a better job of saying how hard his movie was to direct than Sean Baker. Now, here's why he won't win if he doesn't. 1, Sean Baker's awesome. But 2, here's the thing. Brady gets a little preachy. Yep. And the Academy Award is like, dude, we cannot give this guy an award. He's going to be up there for 10 minutes talking shit. And we got to avoid that. Not just for our sponsors, but just like people are over it. People are not watching this show because they do not want to be preached to. And Brady's going to get up there and preach, and he is not a preacher. Yep. So if he doesn't win, that could be part of it. Again, remember, it's a show.
Unless they bring the Sandman out, you know what I'm saying? They can have Sandman up there, man.
That's a great idea. Nick,
I would love it.
Who do we write, PB? We find out who to write to producer Papa Bear that we can suggest a Sandman, like at the Apollo Theater. Sam, because I know you have no idea what we're talking about. At the Apollo Theater, bring out a Sandman if somebody goes too long, he just comes out
dancing. Get the hook, bro. Get the hook. Come on, bro. You gotta get
your ass off stage. Yeah. And then it becomes fun for us too.
Yep, because he dances on stage. He dances on stage. Little Bojangles.
Here we go.
All right, last one. Here we go.
I'm so excited. This is the big one. Best film. Can you give us the 10? Is there 10 options?
Jeez. There's 10. Yeah,
give us the 10 options here. Nope. Okay.
All right. Anora?
No, Sam. Anora.
Okay. All right.
That didn't sound French.
No. Yeah.
Honora. The Brutalist.
Go ahead, man. Yeah.
A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, Wicked.
There's so many choices here. This is what makes this so hard. This is why you can't gamble. You know, PB has, I think, said to me in the past that the lottery is for people who are bad at math. It's a tax on people who are bad at math. And this is why there's all these like poly market and sub markets for betting. And the bottom line is no matter who wins, you can make an educated guess, but it's a 1 in 10 chance to win. They probably nominate too many is what I'm saying.
I disagree. I think if you have 10, you should use 10. I think they misused their 10. I think that you could have had a much stronger 10
You wanted challengers on here, right?
I wanted challengers, Sing Sing, Nosferatu.
Sing.
But Sing Sing, Nosferatu, yes. Challengers, it doesn't even fall in the top 10 categories, right? Which is why it's like that wouldn't have made it. But I'm with you on that.
I mean, I think it should have ran the board here. If we're being straight up, I think it should have been in every category and won it. But that's besides the point.
Crazy talk.
I'm taking for Best Picture, and I don't think it's likely because they didn't watch the movie. I'm taking The Brutalist. I think if we look at a movie as a whole, you know, there's been a lot of talk here about it doesn't do this thing that good. It's epic, but it doesn't do this thing. This is the award for the truly epic landmark film.
Yeah.
And I think that's what The Brutalist is. Honora is awesome. I loved Honora. I think it's great. I think it does a lot of things really, really well. But The Brutalist has the ability to push the industry forward. And I think that it should be awarded for that. And I think we could see a year where literally that is the only award it wins. And it would be a pretty powerful sentiment and a pretty powerful statement. I think it's probably going to go in Nora, if we're just being honest here. Although I do think The Brutalist feels like a Best Picture winner. It does. It feels like something that would fall in this category.
It's evergreen.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm with you, Sam. That's my pick. Evergreen. I think it's cinematic, right? In that, again, it's huge. It's
the
just
largest look of the film. Yes.
Right. So when you and the length of it, right? So there's so many pieces of that puzzle that if you look back at it, right, from any generation, and you say what was the best movie of the time, then I think you would compare it to, if you compared it to Honora, you're like, I mean, it's such a big picture. So many things are happening. You get great performances, all of this stuff. I mean, I think there's probably, cinematography, they're up for editing, they're going to be up for sound. Like there's so many pieces of that puzzle that they're going to be up for across the board, that I think that if you even look at the number of nominations, right, you say, okay, if I based the Best Picture off of the number of nominations for any film, I think right now it's The Brutalist. Right. So I think that's where it goes. It's like they did so many things so well. That's the film that takes it. Now, the one thing I am curious about, why does it move the industry forward, Sam? What was your thinking there?
One more time?
When you said like you think this is the film that helped move the industry forward.
I think that we've been kind of stuck with this idea of a part 1, part 2 system and a sequel system. And I think that the inclusion of an intermission and also the I'm trying to think of the right word here, but the pride in its length is so apparent with The Brutalist. It isn't afraid to be 3.5 hours long.
Yeah.
It isn't afraid to say, no, it's a long movie, right? But it's got to be a long movie. And I think that is something, it's an epic. And I think the industry has had a hard time where every movie is long now. But this is something that moves that needle in an opposite direction, where it isn't a negative. It's almost like, this is so long that, like, why is this so long? This is actually long for a reason. This isn't a complete unknown 220 because it needs to be 220.
Right.
Right. This is long because it is a epic that chronicles decades of this family's life. And I have a lot more to say on that topic, but that's really what it boils down to. It's just it is proud of itself and what it's presenting.
Yes.
And it isn't pretentious in doing so.
I thought the same for Avatar: Way of the Water, to be honest.
I'd agree.
It was like, it had to be that long. I couldn't imagine it being like, how could it be shorter? Like, how could I form these relationships in my mind, right, between these different tribes? How could I possibly understand what was happening without that? It did not feel long to me. It felt right. So I'm with you on that.
Yep. And PB, I have some thoughts about that, but first I want to hear what AI had to say about this category.
Well, AI believes it's going to be Anora.
Ooh, I'm not mad.
Of course. Well, remember, it picked best director.
AI picked Sean Baker.
Sean Baker.
Sean Baker.
Again, there it is. That's the
and
call.
Original screenplay as well.
Director and usually director and best film go hand in hand. So you're kind of pushing all the chips in on both these categories. Whoever you pick, you're pushing all the chips in and saying that director and that film's going to win.
And original screenplay, probably.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but certainly directing and best picture.
Yes.
And for me, I think The Brutalist is going to take it. That's what I picked. I'm not going to be mad if Anora wins. I do want to ask you guys if you remember my take from last year about Anatomy of a Fall, which was that I love that film, and I thought had it been an American film, it would have won Movie of the Year. Right? And because it had those elements that Nick talks about being cinematic and big and it being bigger than ourselves and it being so original. Well, I feel that way about The Seed of the Sacred Fig. And I know we didn't talk about international best film this year or this live stream for this year, but that film, along with I'm Still Here, had either of those been American films, they would have won Movie of the Year, in my opinion.
No,
The Seed of the Sacred Fig is probably the most powerful movie of the year. The directors are still in hiding. They're still running for their lives because they made this movie. And for those that don't know, for the uninitiated, this is a movie that plays like a documentary to me. But it's about a man who has in the Middle East who's a cop, basically a detective. He has a wife and 2 daughters, and this ends up being sort of his curse because in that society, he's a traditionalist. They don't have rights, but these are modern women, and they want those rights, and they deserve them and expect them, and they want to change society, and he's trying to keep them back. And they use visual metaphor so well in this movie, and it really comes to a head. It really presents you with the question of, once you have a status quo in which you are in power or successful, what lengths will you go to maintain it, even if it's wrong? And we are dealing with that right now in so many different ways, in so many different industries, in government, whatever it is. It really has a big point to make, to Nick's point about it being cinematic and big and bigger than all of us. And it's just too bad that it wasn't an American film. I shouldn't say too bad, but had that been an American film, it would have been up for Movie of the Year and it would have won maybe. Same with I'm Still Here, which has just stolen all my emotion. It's just like I'm in love with I'm Still Here, actually. I'm in love with the way they titled it. I'm in love with the poster and the key art they chose. I'm in love with the pacing of it and the performances that were so real, but they're foreign films and they're not going to get the love they deserve. And so I'm going to have to go with the here. I'm going to go with The Brutalist, although am I going to be shocked if Anora wins? No. Am I going to be shocked if Conclave wins? No.
Dark horse. Conclave could take it. I definitely think Conclave is an Academy pick.
It's a big movie. It's a big cinematic movie, to Nick's point.
Yeah.
And now let me tell you this, Sam, before we wrap up. Talk about long movies. All the movies are long now. You know why they're long, right? It's the whole thing is the model at the theater has changed. And it was changing before COVID. They'll blame it on COVID. It was changing before COVID. They got to keep you in the seat longer. More snacks, more drinks, more orders, more resources and options at a theater. Remember, a theater is a density business. It's a real estate foot density business. And you are keeping people in the theater longer. And there's a sense that because the ticket price has gone up, you need more value for your ticket. So what happens is those theaters get with the studios, they pick which movies they're going to buy, and they buy the bigger, longer movie. Well, they buy the bigger, longer movie, and then that is more satisfactory to the audience and more profitable. So you're just going to get more long movies. Get used to
more bang for your buck, if you will.
Mm-hmm. The bigger, better deal.
Well, hey, man, I think it sounds like we got things we should know before we head out of here. Yep. So I want to get that things we should know because I love being educated, by Papa Bear at these things. So let's drop it on us, man, because I want to know. I want to know.
Yep. Hit us with the hammer. Whoa. Wait, Papa Bear, we can't hear you.
No, I love this part.
You actually want my microphone on for this?
Yeah.
This has to do with hosting the show, But first, any comments about who's hosting? Is Conan O'Brien? You like that?
Love Conan.
I'm so excited. Yeah, no,
Love Conan.
I'm pumped.
Shout out to Conan O'Brien.
I think he's going to do a great job. He's had a really good promotion around it. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the stuff they've done on socials and stuff, but he's done.
Yeah, but my vote is for Damon Wayans for next year. That'd be great.
That would be
good.
That's an interesting who would you pick. Want that you haven't seen before?
I would take Dave Chappelle in a heartbeat.
I would too. I think
never going to happen.
He's going to be.
It would be great.
Exactly. I agree with you. It'd be too raw. So
I love that. Yeah.
Who has hosted the Oscars the most number of times?
Whoopi Goldberg.
And how many, if you know it?
No, I'm just kidding. It's not Whoopi. That's a inside joke. That's a callback.
Is it Jimmy Kimmel?
Jimmy Kimmel sounds right to me. Nick, do you have a guess?
Whoopi.
You're going to go Whoopi.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Jimmy Kimmel.
You're going Kimmel. The Oscars have been around a really long time. Really long time.
You're on the right track.
Jimmy's too new. So can we go with
what's the comedian? Bob Hope.
There you go.
Yep. I was thinking of a comedian, but I was thinking of the other guy with the cigar. Who's that?
Bob. Oh,
no, Bob also has cigars, but no, he also lived to 100. What's his name?
I know you're talking about. Short guy, right?
George Burns.
George Burns. I don't know that he ever hosted.
Maybe he didn't. Yeah. Okay, Bob Hope.
Bob Hope. Was it Bob Hope?
Yeah, and he's blowing everybody out of the water 19 times.
19 times. Yeah.
Wow, Bob Hope. That is a thing we should know.
Yeah, Bob Hope.
Bob Hope, 19 times.
He's the man, though, man. Like, it was one of those where, like, you would just expect him to host it. Like, he was the host of hostess. Hostess. I just said hostess.
Yeah.
Hosts of hosts, right?
Yeah.
Papa Bear, you put at the end, I have a TWSK, but nobody in the chat knows what that means. You gotta spell out things we should know next time for the people if you're gonna put it in the people's chat.
Let the people know.
Yeah,
well, I let the people know.
You gotta put it in the right chat.
Okay.
Well, thanks for that, PB. Yeah, that was an excellent. But you're right, though. That is a thing people should know because, like you said, it's been around for a long time.
We should know. Yeah.
Well, we have this bias.
We think we compartmentalize, right?
Yes.
What's the bias, Chris? What's the bias we got?
The bias is recency bias.
Recency bias. That's right.
Recency bias. That's what happened to Intern Sam. He didn't know anything. He didn't know. He's got to Google Bob Hope.
That's true. Actually,
he's got a GPT Bob Hope. What's Bob Hope known for? And then they're going to say something wrong. Who knows?
You're going to get those caricatures of Bob Hope in his nose. Yeah, I remember those.
You talk about an industry darling, Bob Hope, man.
Yep.
Bob Hope was loved all around the world. He would go on these comedic tours to military bases, wherever we were, he'd do the USO. That was a whole Bob Hope thing. And now comedians do it all the time. And he sort of paved the way for everybody to do that. And I would say George Burns did a lot of that too. I know he didn't probably host the Oscars ever, but shout out to him too, because that's a guy who was so into craft, man. He would write, get on stage, do his thing. Every time he'd get off stage, he'd go to the same restaurant in that city that he liked. He'd have a steak, a cigar, and a whiskey. He lived to 100.
The thing is, though, they're hosts in the traditional sense.
Yeah.
And then we talk about hosts now, we think about who's going to be either the most polarizing because that's that drama.
Yeah,
right. Who's new and notable. But Bob Hope he was for everybody. Yeah. It wasn't polarizing. It was a host. You needed the host to just set the foundation for everything else, not be the center of attention. Mm-hmm. And I think he just did that. And he's a master of ceremonies.
Right? That's the whole. Yes, I love the way you put that, man. Yeah, that's what we got to get back to. I think actually people who have done it recently have done a really good job being master of ceremony. So Trevor Noah's an excellent master of ceremony. Jon Stewart is really good at this. Jimmy Kimmel is really good at this as well. I think Stephen Colbert would be really good at this. I actually think Dave Chappelle, to your point, would be really good at this. And so we'll see if Conan's going to nail it. I know there's a lot of people that love him, and then there's a lot of people that are like, I just don't like that style of comedy. They don't have anything wrong. Like, they don't have a problem with Conan. They just don't like that style of comedy that's kind of leaning into sort of that Norm Macdonald area, right? And Norm Macdonald, RIP, he was very polarizing with his comedy, right? You had to be sort of in that world to sort of get what he was saying and why the stuff he was saying is funny. And his delivery was such that it wasn't designed to get belly laughs that happen quick and fast. He's not a snappy guy. He's like a draw this out kind of guy. So we'll see what happens tonight. I'm excited for the show. Gentlemen, I think we did it. I think we did the damn thing.
We did it. Yeah, and we learned something, and we'll see. We'll check these cards and see what AI said about it. I mean, I think AI is going to pick up some of the same stuff that we're picking up as well, right? It's like there's a lot of conversation, a lot of talk, and it's kind of leaning in the same two directions: the Brutalist and Anora.
Those are the two. Those are the two with conclave little spices over the top, and a little bit of I'm Still Here. But here's the deal. For those that hung out with us on our first ever live stream, thank you. It means the world to us from the bottom of our heart. We really appreciate it. We're going to keep doing these live streams more and more often going forward. So we're glad to get this one under our belt. And then if you weren't able to make the live show, we are going to post this. Nick, just tell me when I'm wrong about this, but we are going to post this on our YouTube right after this show. Is that right?
Sweet. Yeah. Try to get it out there. Get this thing done.
All right.
Say thanks to our people in the chat.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Sam, Nick, PB, appreciate the effort. And let's get on a little text thread tonight as the winners go through, okay?
Yeah.
See who won
Sounds
this
good.
thing.
Yep.
All right.
All right, everybody.
Peace.
All right. See you. Bye.
See you guys.